I waited till I built one product. It sold well, got it up and running, built another one. It sold well, got up and running. Once I started making money, I said, okay, I don't want to just rely on this stream. How can I diversify it?
Right.
And, we're looking at 7 or 8 years later, and I come from a financial background. So,
Right.
When I did thousands of mortgages, I always asked the people that had money how the hell they got it and what they did and how they deal with it. So I got a lot of education there from people that were really doing it, that I saw their tax returns and bank statements firsthand. And so you flash forward and there's a lot of different streams, but it's not like I said, today I shall go out and figure 31 ways to make money.
Right.
It's
right.
just not the case at all.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm from a financial background too, and one thing that I've always noticed, just looking at tax returns and the financial statements, was that wealthy people, they don't have to own everything 100%. They might have a 25% ownership in this company, 50% ownership in the other one, 2% in that. They have their hands in a lot of different baskets.
Yep. Same here.
Yep. That's great.
That's how you got to do it.
Yeah. So you do an activity, and I love your website. If anybody who's listening really have to check you out, because you have a lot of information on your website that's very helpful for people who want to learn how to sell. And what's amazing about you is that you engage in an activity, sales, which sometimes it makes people get the hives just thinking about selling, because instantly we might get into an image of, like a used car salesperson or someone knocking on your door selling a box of encyclopedias. But can you tell us how you are so good at selling and how other people could be just as good as you?
Yeah, so it's power versus force. And so when I'm selling, I'm making power moves. So the typical salesperson's trying to force their way into a sale. They're cold calling people, bothering people, knocking on doors, talking to people who are disinterested, following up with people who tell them to get away from them, and driving themselves nuts. And that's why we get a bad reputation. We almost have to be these like slimy people to get things done, because most sales professionals just simply don't have enough leads. And so for me, I make power moves. Now, I've sold cold calling, door knocking, face-to-face. I mean, I've been in sales way before social media and the internet existed, right? So I've done those things, but it makes no sense to me. And really, when I did those things, those were power moves. But now we have evolved to where we have better power moves, and those are no longer power moves. Those are force moves. And so the reason why I say that is I say, okay, so what are some power moves? If I'm going to be the best salesman in the industry that I'm in, what are some power moves that I can do? Well, I can start a podcast, right? Because that instantly makes me seem like an authority. I can go out and get some free PR, and that gives me some authority. I can make sure I'm demonstrating my expertise on Facebook using what we call the M3 method, or on social media, what we call the M3 method, where it's 80% entertainment for an audience, 20% about you and your business. And doing those kind of things that attracts the right people. See, power attracts. Force, you got to go track down what you're looking for. With power, it attracts people. So I position myself, even when I was in the mortgage business, as the influencer, the powerful person that's in the industry that knows how to get these things done, the problem solver. And so when people come to me, most of the time, they're ready to open their wallet already, because they've already been influenced because of the power moves I'm making, and I don't have to forcefully sell people anymore. Now, that hasn't always been the case, but think about this. If this is what I'm doing today, and I'm supposedly a next level salesperson, then don't you think that's what the audience should be doing as well? Because those old things, I never say they don't work. People all the time say, oh, you say cold calls don't work, but I made $200,000 this year. Well, good. We made that last week without a single cold call, and you're working all year to make that, making calls. We're doing that in a week, not making a single call and only talking to people who want to deal with us. Advertising is another power move, but we don't even advertise that heavily anymore because we don't have to, right? We've been making enough power moves for long enough to where the people tend to flock to us, period, whether we're having to run paid traffic to them or not.
Right.
And a lot of people never get to that level either, because they don't deliver the level of service and satisfaction to their clients. So they always got to go find new people. With us, we have a good enough reputation in the marketplace that not only do we get a ton of referrals, we get a ton of organic introductions and tagging us in posts of people who want to buy stuff from us. So, but again, these are the power moves that you have to make in today's society. Nobody wants to buy from the desperate dude that needs your business, but everybody wants to buy from the guy who's one of the best in his field.
Yep, you're right. And I like the fact there's a blog post you have on your website that talks about faking it until you make it, like to actually look successful, because people would not want to buy from a salesperson that looks broke and desperate. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I don't believe in like faking it till you make it, because that insinuates that you might be lying. We say believe until you achieve, right?
Okay.
And so, you want to look like what winning represents at all times. And that doesn't mean you have to wear Gucci loafers. I'm wearing Vans and some $30 jeans right now. But if you look at the way that I carry myself, the way that my hair is done, the way that my breath smells, the way that I don't have smoke smell on my clothes and stuff.
Right.
And, those are the things that you need to represent at all times. Drive the nicest car that you can afford. Don't stretch your budget, but also don't drive a damn beater to a face-to-face meeting because you look like you're failing. And I know people say, well, that's so judgmental. If you think for 1 minute that your prospects aren't judging you, you're mental. And I mean, that's what they're doing. They're judging you on whether they're going to give you their business or not. When you want to be the best candidate possible, not just in knowledge, because you could be the smartest person in the world, but if you walk in my office with yuck breath smelling like smoke with your shirt half untucked and toilet paper hanging off your ass, I ain't going to buy from you, And I don't care how good of an expert you are. And
I mean, yeah,
because it's unattractive to work with. You have to be the same thing on social media. You have to be this attractive character. People look you up on social media, whether you realize it or not. So if you're on social media saying a bunch of dumb stuff, your prospects go over there and look at it and they're like, this guy's an idiot. You have to represent across every area of your life what winning looks like. And it doesn't mean that you have to fake and go run up a bunch of line of credit. If the nicest, you can go lease an Infinity Q50 for $1,500 down and $300 a month. I know, I did it for my assistant. And, $300 a month ain't nothing for a car payment. And it's a nice car. You show up to a meeting in an Infinity Q50, it's a nice car. People say, oh, well, that's a nice car. And you're not paying nothing for it. Right. So you have to think of things like that to position yourself to be able to win. And again, you don't have to stretch your budget. Again, most people listening to this can afford a $300 payment, or they can afford a $500 suit. You don't have to go wear $1,000, $2,000 suits. Ain't nobody noticing the damn difference anyway.
Right.
Right. And by the time you get to a level where people do notice the difference, you'll be able to afford that stuff anyhow.
Yep. That's really good advice. Because when you really think about it, even years ago when department stores were the biggest thing, there was a lot of time spent in those showrooms just to make sure that it looks precisely how it should be and immaculate, clean, shiny, and there's a reason for it. And as a sales professional, you are that shiny, I'm going to want to call you object, but you are representing your company. And wouldn't you want to represent your company in the best way possible?
Yep.
So,
in yourself,
Exactly. So, how would other people learn more about you and how you can help them be the best business person out there?
Study somebody or get a mentor of somebody who is already one of the best.
Well,
it's real simple,
If they want to work with you with your Breakthrough Academy, can you tell them a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so, with our Breakthrough Academy, we have an online digital training platform with hundreds of videos, teach you everything you need to know from sales, marketing, advertising, how to build funnels, run Facebook ads, all that stuff. We have tons of influencers like Ed Milet, Sean Whalen, Fatima Gali, Frank Kern, Kevin Nations that have done trainings back there as well. So it's not just me, it's other experts too. Okay. There's a whole library of things back there. Plus we do 2 live events a year and a weekly motivational call. So our live events typically have about 500 people or so. And for that program, we charge $2,500 a year. We don't have a payment plan or anything like that. We try to keep it exclusive. If somebody doesn't have $2,500 in their account at their disposal, they're probably not really a good fit for our network anyway. So a lot of people back there making a lot of money. We have digital products that we sell as well. You can go to breakthroughacademy.com and check out all the different things in our library. The best free resource for your people would be hardcorecloser.com. But the last thing that I'd like to say is, the thing that helps salespeople make more money is leads. It's not getting better at sales. You go get all the sales training in the world, but if you ain't got nobody to talk to, you ain't going to make no money. It's real simple. And so leads are the things that allow you to break free. Well, a lot of salespeople are trying to work on their sales game, but what they need to work on is their lead generation game. And you can go over to phonesites.com. It's a software that is, you can get like a free trial over there. And you can build a sales funnel even if you have literally zero tech skills whatsoever. You've never been on the internet before, you can build a sales funnel with this software. And once you start mastering things like phone sites and being able to generate leads online with it, it puts you in that power play to be a powerful person, a powerful salesperson, as opposed to having to force your way into everything. I'm telling you, the new sales mastery is lead generation. Because even if you suck at sales, if you have enough people trying to get to you to buy your product, you'll make sales regardless.
Okay, so the lead generation, I know you might not want to go too deep into it, but I know that for the click funnels and all that, you have to make sure that you have the right copy and the right sales language for people to even go further into it. What advice would you give to our listeners about that process?
Well, there's three things that you need. You need an offer, which is the hardest part. You need an audience, which is someone who will take you up on the offer, and you need the technology to get that offer in front of the audience. That's really all it is. So many people try to reinvent the wheel and put all this ClickFunnels is great, but it's also a lot like MySpace. When you went to MySpace, you had to do a bunch of coding, and there was, Nickelback playing and glitter all over the screen, and the cursor turned into a unicorn. And people left that for Facebook because Facebook was simple. Right. And you didn't have to learn coding, and you didn't have to do any of that stuff, and Facebook was very simple. And so it's the same way with sales funnels. People turn sales funnels into MySpace, and it doesn't have to be that way. The biggest companies out there have the most simple funnels. So what's what you suggested again? Phone sites, phonesites.com. It's way cheaper than the rest of them, too.
Okay,
it's like $47 a month.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. You're giving us a lot of good information. And so if people want to work more with you, they could go through Breakthrough Academy or go on Hardcore Closer. Website is? hardcorecloser.com. Okay, great. All right. And so now we're going to go into rapid fire questions just so our listeners can learn a little bit more about you. You've told us a great deal. You have a very inspiring story. But this is just more of a light things about Ryan Stewman. So what is your favorite book? Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Okay. Your favorite vacation spot? Jaco, Costa Rica. Nice. Coffee or tea? Tea. But the iced tea, like in the South, the cold stuff with the lemon in it. With sugar. Yeah. And what have you learned the most from being in business? I've learned that, business is like basically a personal development program with a pay plan attached to it. Wow. That is so true. That is so true. And what advice can you give to people who are entrepreneurs? Give yourself no choice but to win. Because we all know we're human, and if we give ourselves a choice to take the path of least resistance, we will do it every time, no matter who you are. That's very true. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Ryan. And you've inspired me, and I'm sure you've inspired many. You have truly reminded us today that there is no excuse. Thanks again. None. Thanks again. Thank you. All right.